Hello and welcome to Gettable, AFL.com.au's home of trade, draft, free agency and contract news. We are here thanks to Google. It's great to have Google here for season 2025. I'm Riley Beveridge. We've got a massive show coming up. Twomey's Phantom Form Guide has dropped on AFL.com.au. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Josh Lindsay, one of our favourites in this year's draft, is going to be at the Gettable desk as well after Vic Country's big win on the weekend. Plenty of trade and draft news as well. But we head over to the wall now where Twomey does join us. Cal, because you've got some breaking news on Charlie Curnow, who is our cover story this week.
He's our cover story. Let's get to it, Riley, because he is the big talking point. Forever Blue, the three clubs Carlton superstar Charlie Curnow would look at joining. So we know about one. There's another couple as well. The top 25 ranked, the first Phantom Form Guide arrives. What's happening with this gun demon? That'll come up later, as well as inside the Eagles' massive $23 million Harley decision. Let's get to Charlie Curnow, though, because the Blue Star, as has been reported, is open to a move to Gold Coast. That's real. The other bit we can add to that story as well is that he's also open to a move to Sydney and Geelong. So he's contracted to the end of 2029. That means that he's got 4 years left to go on his contract. Carlton has been adamant that he's staying. I don't expect there to be a move. We've spoken about Charlie in recent weeks as well around this capacity to make a decision on a deal or not. But Sydney and Geelong are the other clubs as well that he'd be open to exploring as part of this contract decision, which will now play out in coming weeks, even though Carlton, of course, has been adamant that he's staying. I still think that's the most likely scenario. But the idea of getting out of the Melbourne bubble, we've seen it with Brodie Grundy at Sydney. Yep. We've seen it with Bailey Smith at Geelong, who, of course, he's a business partner with as well. And then the idea of the Gold Coast too, well, the natural inclination to be Surf Coast area. We know the amount of time he spends on the Surf Coast of Geelong too, where he's from with his family. So this is an evolving story. And there's also those other clubs that he'd be open to looking at. Yeah,
it feels like lifestyle playing a big part in this as well, given the fact that, as you mentioned, those three clubs that he'd be willing to go to are all there. What does it say for Carlton, though, and in particular for Coach Michael Voss? Because the pressure's already on the Blues. We know they've had a really disappointing year. There's going to be a lot of change at the football club with Graham Wright about to go into that role as CEO permanently in the coming months. What do you think it says about the future of the football club?
I mean, he hasn't spoken yet to any other clubs, and I'm not sure if that will happen or not, given Carlton has been so adamant that he is staying. But I don't think it's a ringing endorsement when your best player, your standout player, your superstar, is open to looking elsewhere, is it? And I think the reality is that the way it's looking, I see it hard to see Michael Voss going into next year. That's my personal view of where things stand at the moment. But there's still 5 weeks to go and things can change. We saw a better performance from the Blues and from Charlie over the last couple of weeks, particularly last week against Melbourne. But definitely an evolving story with Charlie Curnow and the Blues.
All right, we might get you back over here, Cal, to the desk, because as you might have seen, even when you woke up and clicked onto AFL.com.au in the AFL Live app, Cal's Phantom Form Guide, the first one of the year. It always comes on the Wednesday after the champs finish, and it has dropped. Let's have a look at the top 10 picks as they are, and I want to start with number 1 because you've gone with the man that we haven't actually seen this year in Ezekiel, and with Gold Coast Academy prospect. We know how talented he is. Cooper Duff-Tytler at 2, Willem Dersmer at 3. He was great on the weekend. Dill Patterson at 4's had a great year, and then Dan Annable tied to Brisbane at 5. But Zeke Uland at number 1. Why, Cal?
Well, Zeke the Freak is my number 1. He will play for Gold Coast VFL side this weekend against Brisbane for his first game of the year. I expect him to hit the ground running. He's the Errol Goulden of this year's draft. Smart, classy, razor by foot. Keeps on running, sets up the play, and a leader as well. Here's the big call, Riley. He will be Gold Coast's next captain before he's even been drafted. Like Michael Clark was Australia's next Tex captain before he debuted, I'm calling it for Zeke.
Wow.
Give Noah 5 or 6 years, he'll be 29 to 30. Then we'll see Zeke coming in. He's a leader. He's absolutely made for it. So he's my number 1. And, yeah, his form is stacked up. Cooper Duff-Tytler, as part of the open draft players, is the number 1 player beyond that. At number 2, he's going to play some Essendon VFL in coming weeks as well once he gets through his AGSV season. So that'll happen. And Willem Dersmer, of course, has been really good across this season, finished his championships really well. But 3 members of that top 5 tied to clubs.
All right, then we go on to the next 5. Dyson Sharp at 6, South Australia's MVP at the recent Under-18s Championships. Josh Lindsay, the man that's just about to join us at the Gettable desk, at 7. You've got Mitch Marsh and Aidan Schubert, a couple more South Australians at 8 and 9. And then Harry Dean at number 10. I'm calling him the party pooper, Cal. He spoils everything.
Very good. Well, he did on the weekend. He actually, no, he didn't.
He marked everything, actually.
He marked everything. He's the school teacher. He played the best game of his carnival with 22 disposals and 8 marks against Vic Metro on Sunday. Is 193 centimetres, can read the ball well, is competitive, classy, athletic. We see the marking here. Missed last year with a broken arm, largely, but could well attract a bid inside the first 10 to 12 selections now, the way he's going. So Carlton has some adjustments to do with its picks and how that's actually going to play out. They don't want to use the full pick they get for TDK. We should expect him to go to St Kilda on him. Mitch Marshall also in that group, kicked 15 goals in the first 7 games of his sample season, then 12 in the championships. I love his style and efficiency.
All right, let's get to the next 10 on that list, in particular the next 5. So number 11, you've got Ollie Greaves. He was fantastic as well right throughout the carnival. Sam Grill, the sizzler, at number 12. Sam Cumming at 13. Max King at 14. And then Xavier Taylor at 15. But I want to ask you about Sam Cumming because he's played some senior sample footy. He's had a really good year.
Yeah, he has. He's a key member of South Australia's under-18 carnival win, playing as a midfielder and forward, averaging 17 disposals and a goal. Then backed it up for the Roosters with his debut at senior level. Also kicked 3 goals from 21 disposals a couple of weeks ago at senior level for them. So certainly rising and pushing up the ranks. And that's why I've got him at number 13. And that's a player and a spot that he could really push up for in that next little bit of the season too. But certainly looked very comfortable at the high level in recent weeks.
All right, the next 5 on that list. Archie Ludowick at pick 16. 17, you've got Javan Philippou, brother of Max. Noah Hibbins-Hargraves at 18. Louis Emmett at 19. And then Zach McCarthy tied to Collingwood's NGA at pick 20. What about Javan Philippou? Because he's another one that's played some senior sample footy this year.
Well, he's different to Mateus because he is smaller and probably not that sort of bigger bodied midfield option, but geez, he's exciting. And he's a decathlete, so an elite junior decathlete, and shows that with his marking, jumping, running, athleticism. Whenever he plays footy, he can take hangers, kicks goals. Did all of that and more when he returned to Woodville, West Torrens' under-18 side after missing the champs with the broken arm. So does some freakish things. Made his Sandford debut after having 31 disposals and 2 goals in an under-18s game a couple of weeks ago. So been out of sight, out of mind, but not for me. He's in my top 20. I think he's one, again, that clubs are hoping might slide through attention-wise, but we've got him in the top 20.
Love that from you, Kel. All right, and then to round out the top 25, let's look at the final 5 within that. So you've got Jacob Farrer at 21, Adam Swade tied to Essendon, of course, at 22, Bo Adensall tied to Gold Coast, Lockie Doverston at 24, and then Riley Only at 25. Adam Swade, though, had a really good carnival for Vic Metro.
Yeah, had a really good carnival. Kicked 4 goals against the Allies, was close to best on ground then. He has power, moves fast at ground level, has shown he can start his career as a half-forward option. His midfield work reminds me of Dion Prestia as a strong, nuggety sort of ball getter with that appetite for the contest. So, yeah, I think a bid will come around this point of the draft for him, and he probably starts his career as a half forward for the Bombers. But I love his attitude. He's just fierce for the footy and fronts up every single week. So, yeah, the blue suede shoes are headed their way to the Bombers, and he's been really good. So Riley Only gets in there at the back end as well. And some other players who just missed out. You mentioned Harley Barker. Avery Thomas is another one for the Allies who was pretty close to this group as well. Would have liked to put him in. Lockie Carmichael and Hustler, Hussein El Ashkar was pretty close too. So I think next time we'll probably do 30, but start with 25. And yeah, maybe I think it's 8 or 9 players in that group who are tied to academy teams or father-sons, so that shows where the compromised nature of this year's pool is, but some talent developing in that group.
I was going to say, so you've got 5 inside 15 that are tied to either father-son or academies, but more importantly, Cal, 9 of the 25 are Gettable guests. Which is important. Bit of talk around the academy and DVI bidding this week, though.
There has been. We were out the front of AFL House, what day was it? Tuesday, Monday? Yeah. And Greg Swan and Andrew Dillon in front of the press, and we were taken aback when we heard about the bids and what could be happening up in the academy.
The new DVI index is going to make a big difference to what you pay for those people now, and so I think we need to let that run for a year or two. I know I see Cal and Riley over there, but it'll make a big difference to how many blokes you can and can't get.
I see Greg and Andrew up the front, and I just...
I thought he was talking about we were going to get bids for us at some point. All right, let's have a look at the draft order, though, because I reckon it's going to be fascinating, and it's still some movement ahead of this. You can see here, just want to point out, Essendon and Gold Coast both have asterisks because they've played a game fewer than every side, so that's what's going to happen. But West Coast, Richmond, that trade, of course, with North Melbourne at the end of last year. That's why Richmond have 2 consecutive picks. But if West Coast get a bid in for Oscar Allen, a free agency compensation pick in for Oscar Allen at pick 2, there's a chance that the draft order could start with West Coast, Richmond, Essendon, with St Kilda potentially tied up in there. So there could be 3 sides having the first 6 or 7 picks, Cal.
Yeah, all I can think about is it's a fan and draft nightmare. But also Sam Draper's selection as well, if he does go.
Yeah.
Look, it might be end of first round. Going to have to hit that sort of 5x900 level to reach first round band 1 territory.
All right. Well, Cal, before we get to our special guest at the desk, Google Gemini is your personal AI assistant, and it's been great for chatting through some ideas and helping answer questions. Pre-show, you asked for some help that could be very useful in the next segment. Let's see how that went.
Hi Google Gemini. On Gettable, our AFL trade and draft show, we have a lot of guests who are teenagers and draftees. How can we ask them questions using young and cool lingo?
To connect with those young AFL prospects, you'll want to keep it casual and engaging. Instead of asking, what are your strengths? Go with, what's your superpower on the field? That'll get them talking.
Can you help with some extra language that we should use as well with teenagers? Can you give us any lingo tips?
To really connect, you could try using words like vibe instead of atmosphere. Maybe even throw in a lit or fire when something's really good.
Yeah, that sounds fire. Can you throw some examples around what bussin' means?
Bussin' is a slang term that means something is really good or delicious. You typically use it to describe food like, these chips are bussin'. It's a fun way to hype up your favourite eats.
I'm going to hype up my favourite draftee by saying he played a bussin' game.
That's a great way to hype up your favourite draftee.
Thanks for your help, Google Gemini.
You're welcome. Let me know if you need any more lingo tips.
We've actually got a bussin' draftee.
Come on, Cal.
At the desk.
Awful.
His champs have been fire.
All right, let's get
Thanks
to
to Google Pixel, we love our friends at Google.
Big thanks to Google. All right, Josh Lindsay has had such a great year for both the Geelong Falcons and Vic Country. He joins us at the Gettable desk. Josh, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us, Riley and Cal. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in, mate. We appreciate taking a little bit of time off school as well. You're on the spares this morning.
Yeah, a couple spares, which is handy, so...
Tick that off with Geelong Grammar. Hey, as we say, we wrapped up your carnival on Sunday with a great win for Vic Country. Must have been a great way to finish what's been a big 6 weeks.
Yeah, it was unreal, sort of carnival, sort of coming together before the first game, a day before the WA, so we really connected straight away and sort of good to finish off the carnival with 2 wins in a row, so it was really good and sort of my time there, I really enjoyed it. The first couple of games, got a fair bit of it, which was good, and thought I used the ball well, and sort of the last couple of games sort of changed my role a bit, got high up the ground and more defensive stuff, so that was a really good experience and all the boys were great. So,
How have you viewed your year? You're in the run home now. There's a block of games you play for the Geelong Grammar Schools team and also for the Falcons at the end of the season, but absolutely in the run home. How have you viewed your season so far?
Yeah, I think, it's just been super fun this year. You sort of look up to your draft year as you go through the years, so sort of just entering the season, wanted to have a heap of fun and sort of get the best out of myself, so I've loved it so far. Been in a fair few different programs, so it's really been good, yeah.
You've captained a fair few different programs as well. We've seen you captain Vic Country, the Geelong Falcons and the Geelong Grammar side. What have you learned about your leadership over the course of the year?
I sort of, going into the year, that was something I really wanted to develop, my leadership roles, so sort of identifying what leadership roles that can come up along the way, so getting Falcons and Grammar around the year was really good to sort of build me into later in the year with Vic Country as well, especially over the summer. I thought I learned a fair bit, obviously training with the Cats and sort of the programs I were in, so I really want to implement that to the boys down at Falcons, Grammar and Vic Country as well, so it's been really good so far.
In terms of kicking off, you made a pretty good start. I mean, you were best on ground in that AFL Academy game against Coburg. What did that experience teach you, playing against some senior listed boys in the VFL?
Yeah, that was really good. It was my first time playing against senior boys, so I really enjoyed it. It was sort of similar to Vic Country. We were a super tight group. All sort of come together and playing with the best boys around Australia is something you always dream of. So, I loved it so much, and sort of looking how the other boys prepare and all the coaching staff around the program was really good. To finish off the games, winning the best on ground medal was pretty special as well. So, couldn't be more thankful for that.
So many of those highlights are you with the ball using that left foot. How much work's gone into your kicking, and has it always been a strength of yours?
It's probably always been my main strength of mine. Sort of identified that is my main strength and sort of want to use it as best as possible. So, I love kicking the ball and sort of taking the metres gain and always taking the attacking option on. So, that's probably my main strength, yeah.
Who's the AFL players that you look at who do the similar thing like that in terms of use their kicking as such a weapon out of half-back and through the midfield?
Probably definitely Errol Goulden and Hayden Young. The way they use the ball and their decision-making is pretty unreal. So sort of love watching both of them go at it and, really enjoy that.
you played with the #1 pick from last year, Sam Lawler at Geelong Grammar, right throughout the season. What did you learn from his experience going pretty early in the draft, right the way through 2024? And then also, have you stayed in touch with him this year?
Yeah, definitely. Sort of seeing the way he started the year was pretty special, and he's always messaging me how I'm going, and I'm sort of checking up in him all the time as well. So, yeah, going through Grammar last year with him, he was sort of in a fair few leadership roles as well. So he was really good for me, and sort of enjoying his draft year as well. So, no, he's been super for me, and yeah, I love chatting to him.
Tell us about your cricket, because like Sam, who was a good cricketer himself, he was more of a batsman. You're a bowler though, because even at year 10 level, so this is one of your deliveries. Bang. Scared the crap out of that guy. Fierce up around the ears. And this one's the hat-trick bowl. Tell us about this hat-trick. Year 10.
Yeah, that was against Melbourne Grammar a couple of years ago. Sammy's playing that as well. Sort of just decided to clean up the tail a bit. So, yeah, that was pretty special. And, yeah, one of my memories of my sporting career so far. So, yeah, that was unreal.
So, you've taken a hat-trick?
Yeah.
I took a hat-trick.
Did you?
I did, yeah. Under 17. You got one?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, hat-trick clubs over this side of the
Bring
desk.
Scotty Boland in to take my spot.
It's not on the G though. But.
So, actually, in saying that, I did see you, we got a clip sent through of you bowling to Sam Lawler, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, here it is. We know that's not you.
Yeah, no, that is Sammy.
Sammy absolutely dispatching someone into, like, Curnow.
Yeah. We actually sort of had a deal with that. Whenever we bowl each other, when I bowled him in the nets, I couldn't bowl him any bounces. He would be scared. So, and then, yeah, also he couldn't smack me around. So it was sort of a good deal. Oh, he is.
He's a bully.
Very powerful.
Absolutely. Who do you barrack for?
I barrack for North Melbourne. Yeah.
And how'd that come about?
I actually don't know. I just sort of followed North Melbourne all through my juniors, and sort of love watching them go about it. Yeah.
Nice. Anyone from North Melbourne that you sort of idolised growing up?
Yeah, probably when I was younger, like Brima Harvey and Drew Peachy, I always looked up to them. So, yeah, they were probably the main two players. Yeah.
How have the club meetings been? It's a big part of your year, obviously, in your draft year. How have you found them so far?
Yeah, they've been really good. Sort of over the summer period, we sort of with the academy in Vic Country, you sort of have your speed dating interviews, like only quick 10 minutes or so. Yeah, they were really good, and obviously coming into this year, sort of a few home interviews and coffee catch-ups. So, yeah, they've been really good and been a really good experience, yeah.
Did get a bit of a tip-off from your manager, Dill Hodge, that you spent some time, you knew this, that you spent some time at the Geelong Footy Club earlier this year, but the interesting part is you got locked in at GMHBA Stadium. What happened?
This is a funny story. So, yeah, me and Ben Ronjit through the AFL Academy were training the Cats as well, and it was on the first day, actually. It was sort of, it was about 6 o'clock, and we're all just chilling in the recovery pools. A few other players are in there as well. And it got to about 6:30, and we're sort of still in the rooms, and we realised there's not many other boys around, so we're like, let's just
empty it out a bit.
Yeah, let's just go for a kick or something. So I had a little kick indoors and kicking the footies around, and time sort of passed, and it got to about 8 o'clock, and went to walk out the doors, and of course the players have some passes to get out, and we didn't have one, so we're sort of stuck in there till 8:30, and yeah, luckily Chris Lynch, who sort of looked us after us for that week.
What'd you do? You run amok? You go through Andrew Mackey's office or Chris Scott's office?
We had a bit of food in the kitchen, but no, yeah, it was good. It was pretty funny looking back onto it.
That's awesome, mate. Anyone from the Cats when you spent the week there sort of take you under your wing?
Yeah, sort of the young players you train a lot with. They're sort of on a lot of programs as well. So George Stevens was unreal for me. Even on the off day, he asked me to go and to do some extras, and yeah, I thought we were pretty similar personalities, always sort of trying to look better and quite professional. So he was really good for me. And then, yeah, sort of just training out on the ground, sort of looking at Dangerfield and Holmes and stuff is pretty surreal. So, yeah, that was such a special week.
So before we finish up, you've spoken brilliantly. This is your chance for a feedback session.
Yeah.
You're on the car up today. Open up the AFL app. Yeah. I did have you at number 7. Are you content with that? Are you happy with that? Or is there still room to jump up?
No, I'd be pretty happy. You're pretty spot on most of the time. So, yeah, we were stuck in traffic. So I'd have a little look at that. But yeah, I'll probably try to keep aiming to go a little bit higher. But
that's a good attitude. Great attitude to have. There we go.
Hey, you don't leave empty-handed, as every guest doesn't. This is for you. It's your Gettable T-shirt. You're now officially Gettable. Put up to number 1 camera here. Thanks heaps for coming in. Well spoken. We look forward to seeing how the rest of the year pans out.
Thanks so much.
Well done.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Hey, it's Adam Kingsley, and you're watching Gettable with Twomey and Riley Beveridge. Now it's time for Askable.
Thanks, Muscles. That was Adam Kingsley there, and that was your numero 7 in your Phantom Form guide, Josh Lindsay. He's an absolute star. Thank you for coming on Gettable, Josh. He's got a massive future ahead of him. All right, Adam Kingsley, he gets what he wants. Let's get to Askable. That is where you ask the questions, we answer them. Get in touch with us on our Instagram page at Gettable to do just that. Nikki has done so. She wants to know what happens with Harley's contract because, Cal, you revealed a massive development earlier this week relating to Harley's potential deal at the Eagles.
Yeah, and this is what it looks like, Riley. So a short-term 2-year extension to the end of 2028 with the option of another 9-year extension to the end of 2037. So it'd be the biggest deal ever in footy history by some margin, more than $2 million a season if the Eagles accept it and do that deal. So some toing and froing to come. That's been on their hands for a number of weeks now. Yep. It signals his intent to do and be open to do a short-term extension with then the option to go super long-term. Obviously, the longest signed player in the competition right now is Cozzy Pickett to the end of 2034. I don't know what everyone else is thinking, but 2037 feels like a long way away. But 2028 doesn't feel as long away. So that would give him 5 years basically to test it and see if it's working at the Eagles. So yeah, a bit to play out. Look, the clubs in Victoria are still all interested, clearly. I think Hawthorn is leading that pack along with the Cats. I said the other day, I think the Hawks are near on obsessed with Harley, and I stand by that. The Bombers, I've been trying to say this all year to Essendon supporters. Just because you have picks that might line up doesn't mean that you're going to be able to get this deal done. And also doesn't mean that the payments in terms of what he'd be looking for and the years that they'll be playing that sort of ball game. So that's where it sits with Harley. We'll see more over the next coming weeks.
It's a massive deal in the sense that if he does trigger the 9-year option, it almost takes him past, well, it does take him past free agency as well. So it gets him to free agency, and then 5 years beyond that, it's almost his free agency contract as well as that.
Yeah, well, it's an understanding more than it can't be written into deals. It's like the Miles Bergman one, 2 years plus 7 that he's got. It's an understanding that if he wants to go beyond that deal, it's there for him to lock in.
He has been fantastic across the last 5 weeks as well, which goes to show just how good a player he is going to be. Johnny wants to know, how does a deal look if Naz chose Port or the Crows? Because they're in a bit of a different position in terms of the picks they've got this year.
He's the Iceman because he's given nothing away to anyone and he continues to play career best footy. But let's have a look at what the picks actually look like. So Port Adelaide has these selections in 2025. Just worth remembering to everyone that there's extra years beyond that, 2026 and 2027, that they'll be able to dip into. And the same for the Crows. The Crows do have their first round pick this year. Look, the number one priority for both of these teams, as well as the Saints, of course, is getting Naz to stay with them, or the Saints to stay with them, or the other clubs to nominate them, and then they work backwards from there. But nothing forthcoming yet. St Kilda's offers at $1.4 million. The Port Adelaide and Adelaide offers that we've spoken about last week are front-ended as well to be much higher than that in those early years. So that's where it sits.
All right, Nat wants to know, any update on Jud McVy?
Well, this is getting to crunch time now for Jud McVy at the Demons. So all year it's felt like more like he was staying on a short-term contract, but it's about to hit round 20 and the noise around his future is rising. So he's weighing up a 2-year deal to remain at Melbourne, but is also considering a return back to WA where Fremantle is keen and interested in him. He grew up a West Coast fan and has a relationship with Andrew McQualter, of course, from the D's last year. But I think if he did decide to go, I think Fremantle would be the favoured club right here, right now, but also has had links to Adelaide, where his girlfriend and partner is from, and that's been in consideration. But the Crows have a lot happening. I don't think that's really in the mix. So, he's weighing that up at the moment, and clearly it's getting to crunch time in terms of what his decision is, because we're a month out from the end of the year, and definitely this has dragged on.
It certainly has. All right, Aaron wants to know, any realistic Bombers targets?
Well, they're in for Rowell, they're in for Bergman. I think the Zach Butters chase will be there, but not as much for Essendon. I still think Geelong and the Western Bulldogs more likely next year, of course. I've spoken about that all year. I think that's more likely a 2026 decision than a 2025. They're in the hunt for Brandon Starcevich. That could also depend on what happens with Sam Draper and the pick dilution.
Yes.
Given the free agency picks can negate each other if you have one coming in, one going out. Otherwise, it's probably just go to the draft again and face another significant list, Carl. I think there's at least 6 to 8 players who are probably in some strife in terms of their contracts, and they have the biggest list in the AFL this year, given their injuries.
All right, Lexi wants to know how many rucks are going to move clubs. Do we have a merry-go-round graphic yet this year?
Oh, we need to get one started, actually. Yeah.
A lot of people were very happy with that last year.
We'll whip that up. Sam Draper is the ruck kingpin, I'd say. He has 4 years and a trigger for a fifth for this year on the table for Essendon. So Riley O'Brien, Adelaide's upped its offer from 2 years to 3 years. So these things are working in tandem in some ways. They're kind of circling each other, but not. Tom DeConey, I think, is gone. I think he's at St Kilda next year. Rowan Marshall is clearly going to be a target for clubs, including Geelong. Darcy Cameron, where does that one sit this year? Lloyd Meek isn't too far away now from re-signing. And then there's the Ramsden, Nick Bryan, Vigo Vicentini types who will all attract some interest as well. So multiple, to answer the question.
All right, Perry wants to know what's the latest on Cal Archie and Brandon Starvich at Brisbane?
Starvich is still weighing this up. We've spoken about this in recent weeks. He's going through the process. So they've got that deal in front of him that it can get longer term from the Lions and also has the Bombers there as well as some other suitors. So that's still a watch. And Archie, well, hasn't this one continued to go under the radar? He's a premiership hero, still no signature there. So a little bit like the Jud McVy instance, when it gets to around 2021 and there's still no signing, you start to wonder what's happening there, and that's what I'm thinking about Archie. Look, they'd be keen to lock him in soon as possible.
All right, Tony wants to know, are there any new names to bring to the trade front?
Well, I want to talk about Alex Davies. We spoke about him last year. We haven't spoken about him this year on Gettable. He signed on last year at the Suns for 2 more years until the end of 2026, but he's looking for opportunities elsewhere, so I think we'll be keen for a move this trade period. Hasn't broken into the Suns midfield this year at all, so he is a name to watch again, and I think he'll be open to changing clubs. Jacob Ware is an unrestricted free agent, having previously been delisted by the Giants. So the Giants have offered him a 1-year deal. We've reported about that on Inside Trading. He has other interests as well from the Western Bulldogs and from Port Adelaide too. So picked up him as a mature ager, 27 now, a kicker, played 12 games this year for the Giants. So been a pretty steady play for them in their footy team this season. So he's one that could move from a free agency perspective. One of the Giants who won't be moving is Xavier O'Halloran, set to lock in that 3-year deal in coming days, which will lock him in for another 3 seasons, as we reported last week. So just about tick that one off, Xavier O'Halloran to stay at the Giants.
Yeah, okay, that's good news. For the Giants, Michael wants to know who's your favourite player at the under-16s last week. We know about Axel. You got any else, Kel?
Oh, Axel Walsh was very good before he had that knee injury, hopefully not too long on the sidelines. I love Baxter Schruck. He was a star.
It's a great name.
It's a great name, and he was a great player on Friday in particular. He had an awesome game. There he is, number 12. Look at this left foot on the left. Finishes beautifully. 27 touches, left-footed beast through the midfield and forward line. Kicked 4 goals in this game. Got some gears. Look at this run. Off he goes. Bang. He was really, really good. So he took my eye. I'm a big fan of what I saw from him last week. So keep an eye out for him in the 2027 draft. The Tassie recruiters will be all over him, I'm sure, heading into that year. So, all right, 2 questions for you, Riley. Pat, call it now. Who will be the most talked about free agent in 2026?
Well, I don't want to talk about Zach Butters, Ben King or Sam Walsh because we know about them. I'm looking at 2. Dill Moore, purely because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent, even though he's one of Hawthorn's best players, given the fact that he was delisted and re-rookied. I think clubs will be all over him if he gets into 2026 still unsigned. And then one under the radar, Jack Buckley at the Giants is another one I'm looking at. I reckon, given how much he's produced from an output perspective, I reckon he'd be one of the most underpaid players in the comp right now.
All right, I'm going to go with Zach Bailey. I think this one will drag into next year, and I also think that the money coming for Zach Bailey, clubs will be looking at Brisbane and saying, surely if it's at a high range, we can try and drag someone out. I think the Zach Bailey money is going to be enormous next year. All right, final question actually has come through from Bailey D. For you, Riley. Since your Devils dossier involving golf courses, have you guys had a hit recently?
I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, you do.
Not as strong as
So you wrote a good story last week, having a hit. Look, we've actually got the radar on this. Here it is.
Yeah, this is the ugliest swing of all time.
Oh, there it is. It actually got out of the shot. So that was with Oscar Baker, Anthony Scott, and also Bailey Dale. Where'd you rank out of that?
Dead last, I would have thought, Cal. They are 3 very good golfers at the Western Bulldogs. Head to afl.com.au to check out Duckhook Golf and their story because it is a great one. Good work from you, Cal. Thank you again to Josh Lindsay for coming on the Gettable desk, and we'll see you same time, same place next week.